ever just scrolling online and see some comment trash talking like Van Gogh?
Right.
Like, really?
Mm-hmm.
It's like everyone's an art critic these days.
Right.
So that's what we're diving into today, this whole world of online art criticism.
Mm-hmm.
And we're actually going to do it all based on just one single comment.
Oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing, actually. This person sounds off on Sargent, Zorn, Ingres. They even go after Van Gogh.
Oh, no one's safe.
Nobody's safe. But here's the thing. We're not here to say who's right or wrong about, liking a painting or not.
Sure.
It's more about using this comment, this, rant almost, to get us thinking. Like, what does it say about how we see art? About criticism in general?
Right.
Maybe even, what it says about us as people when we feel the need to critique.
Nope.
So whether you consider yourself an art buff or you just, enjoy a good internet debate, stick around because this is going to be good.
I'm ready.
All right, so you've had a chance to look over this comment.
I have, yes.
What's your first, gut reaction to seeing someone just kind of lay into these? These are big names in art history.
Yeah, and what's so interesting is how this one comment manages to, take down all these different styles. We're talking about artists whose techniques are almost as instantly recognizable as their names.
Right. Okay, so, let's break down a few of the artists that are mentioned here.
Yeah.
So you've got Sargent, known for, talk about recognizable. His portraits, the way he captured a likeness, just incredible.
Amazing.
The commenter says that Sargent pleases the audience too much.
Okay.
Okay, so then we jump to Zorn, the master of light and shadow.
Yeah.
Criticized for a palette that's too cold.
Interesting.
And then Ingres.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Ingres for a second?
Oh, yeah.
This is someone who is meticulously rendering every single thing, every fold of fabric, every nuance of expression.
It's true. And he's sparked debate for centuries, right? Because how much detail is too much detail in art?
Yeah.
And where's that line?
What's the point?
Exactly.
Right. It's this whole comment is like a crash course in art history.
Yeah.
But with a very strong point of view.
Definitely. Strong opinions.
So when you see these criticisms, what for you are some of the, the recurring themes or the pitfalls that this kind of reveals about how a lot of us approach looking at art?
Yeah. Well, I think each one of these little criticisms kind of tacks into a bigger question about how we judge art in general. Let's take that comment about Sargent pleasing the audience too much. This goes straight to this whole debate about commercial success versus artistic integrity.
Right.
Is art somehow better if it's difficult or strange or makes you uncomfortable versus something that's just, straight up beautiful and you enjoy looking at it?
But it doesn't have to be a struggle.
Yeah, exactly. And, there are so many examples of artists throughout history who kind of explode that idea. Caravaggio. Now he's considered a master of light and shadow, but in his own time, his art was so realistic, people thought it was scandalous. So, the point is something that's popular in its own time doesn't mean it's shallow. And sometimes it takes a while for, tastes to catch up and to really appreciate what an artist was doing.
Yeah, and history is full of those examples, right? Where it's the critics initially hated it or it was too controversial, and now it's you go to a museum and you're just surrounded by it.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's this other, I found this part really interesting, almost like a little bit of a, like a superiority complex or something, where the commenter says, it's like they think they're Zeus.
Yes.
And everyone else is just, too dumb to understand their genius.
And that's so fascinating to me because it really highlights something we all do. It's this need to kind of position ourselves as the authority. I have the best taste, and if you don't agree, well...
then you're wrong.
Yeah. And it's not just in art. Think about, music or movies or even just recommending a book. You ever suggest something you loved and someone just completely dismisses it?
Oh, yeah.
And suddenly it's not only do they not like the book, but you're kind of questioning their whole taste in literature.
Right. Everything you've ever read is now suspect.
Exactly. It's this weird thing where if we're going to elevate our own preferences, we also have to put down anyone who disagrees.
So interesting. It's this weird defense mechanism. All right. I want to get to one more part of this comment because this one really, I think, is very relevant today. And it's when the commenter says talking about these artists, they confuse knowing with doing. They probably couldn't even draw Mickey Mouse.
Okay, so this part, to me, speaks to this illusion of accessibility that we have now, especially with technology.
Right.
I can go on my phone right now, find a filter that will make any photo look like a Van Gogh painting.
Yeah, yeah.
But that doesn't mean I have the slightest clue what went into actually creating Starry Night.
Right, or the years of practice to get to that point.
Exactly, and I think this happens a lot now, right? We see the final product, the amazing photo, the incredible painting, whatever it is, but we don't see all the work that went into it. The hours of practice, the failures, the just pure dedication it takes to master any craft.
Yeah, it's that whole comparison thing, right? It's yeah, I can take a selfie and I can make myself look, 10 years younger with a few taps on my phone. But that doesn't make me like a master of portraiture the way that like John Singer Sargent was a master of portraiture.
Exactly. Totally different thing.
It's two different things. And I think that that's a really important distinction to make. Okay, so as we kind of like start to wrap up here, the commenter ends by almost suggesting that all this like constant criticism that's out there, especially online, that it's actually like hindering people's growth and creativity. So as someone who, you look at art, you think about art, is there a difference between like constructive criticism that helps someone improve versus just like negativity?
100%. And it's something that's so important to remember, especially like you said, online. I think with good constructive criticism, the goal is to illuminate, not just to tear down.
Okay.
Right? So it's less about saying Zorn's palette is too cold and therefore he's a terrible artist, and more about maybe asking, this limited palette creates a certain mood. What was he going for? How does it make you feel?
Oh, I like that.
Right. So it's about asking questions, having a discussion, not just dictating taste.
Yeah. So as we kind of like take all of this in, all of these different ideas, and kind of think about like, okay, what can we take away from this one person's very, very strong opinions, it seems like. At the end of the day, art is subjective, right? Like it's open to interpretation. And technical skill, while important, the ability to draw, the ability to use color, all that is undeniable. What really speaks to us emotionally can be deeply, deeply personal.
Absolutely.
So, next time you encounter a piece of art, whether you're at a museum or scrolling through your phone, maybe resist that urge to immediately like praise it or critique it.
Yeah.
And instead just sit with it for a minute and ask yourself, like, what is it about this, whatever it is, that's causing me to have this reaction? You might be surprised by what you learn, not only about the art, but also about yourself.
Absolutely.
I love that.